right, big, loud group. Good morning to everybody. Good morning, everybody. All right, we got a nice crowd with us here this morning. You can take a seat now. We have a tradition here where we like to start everyone. You thought you were going to do something really bad when I had you stand up, right? We like to start off with a little tradition we have here called our win wall. So we're going to mix things up this morning, and we're going to jump right into the win wall, then we'll do some other introductions afterwards. So here's how the win wall works, for those of you who have not participated in it before. There's a Post-it note in front of each of your seats, and what we're asking is for each of you to just write down as many wins that you had in 2023. So we're not just focusing on the third quarter. We're really thinking about the wins that you had in 2023. Once you've listed them all out, I want you to pick your biggest one. We're going to give you 2 minutes to do that. Just start writing them on a Post-it note like a little bit of a think tank. Once you've listed your biggest win for the year, we're going to go, see that? Round, it was very good, Matt. We're going to go around the room. In each business, this is important, not every person, because there's a lot of people in this room. So each business has 35 seconds to stand up, introduce themselves, and name of your business, and your win wall. We have added a new thing, I don't know what to call it, but to keep people on 35 seconds. Bill, when you hit 35 seconds, we're ringing the bell because 2 minutes isn't going to happen today because we got too many people in this room. All right, so 2 minutes, start working on your biggest wins, 2023. And then we're going to go around the room and share. Go. Quick, just on why we do win wall. So hopefully you guys were really paying attention and listening to those in the room. One of the things that I think has been really cool, this is our 9th growth club that we've done. We do them every quarter, and so this has grown. The first one had about 18 people in it. We have about 75 people in the room today, a little bit north of 50 businesses, and people are doing business together. And I think that's one of the coolest things that comes out of this. So hopefully as people were speaking, you're thinking about 2 things in this order. First order is, how can I help that person? How could I give that person business, do business with that person? Which might seem opposite, because a lot of people sit here and go, I wonder if I can get business from that person. But right, first thing we want to do is figure out how we can help somebody, support them, and then that brings that business back towards you. So as you have opportunities today, we left a lot of room for networking. We have a forced table switch later today, which some of you will hate me for, I know, but looking to get some good networking, interacting in the room so we can support one another's businesses and continue to help one another grow. So that's why we do Win Wall, and just an opportunity for you to reflect on the things that you do well. Real quick, a little bit about us. First of all, there's a lot of people in the room I don't know. So I'm Arif Boyson. I started this, you can see now, we just celebrated our 5-year anniversary, which is your first hump in business, for those that don't know, right? 80% of businesses fail in their first year. The failure rate in the next 5 years is another 80% though. So when you think about that math equation, most businesses don't make it to 10 years. So we're excited to celebrate 10 years today. I hope you'll, 5. Where'd that come from? 5, and hopefully you guys will not mind a little bit later today coming outside with us, taking a big picture that allows us to kind of celebrate that 5-year anniversary. Started the business 5 years ago. I had about 25 years in the retail industry, 2 different companies, and most know the story, and there's not time for the story, so we'll just say, had the need to make a switch, come out of retail and start. Morning, Chris.
Hey, Chris.
And start this business 5 years ago. We moved from the Northeast down here like a lot of other people. It's been the best thing I've ever done in my corporate career. Mostly managed stores. So, and then my last job, I was the Senior Vice President of stores for a company called Bloomingdale's, if you've ever heard of them, and responsible for the stores organization. This is Matt. Everybody say, hi, Matt. So Matt joined us well over a year ago now, and his journey started with us as a client. So he had an objective of building a business that worked without him. And prior to that, he has a long career in the golf industry. He's actually a golf pro, or was a golf pro. He's not that good anymore, but I still can't beat him. And about 8-9 months in, really started to get his business humming and starting to work without him. and I was ready to hire a coach, and I just took the leap and asked the question because I felt like he was a really good fit as it relates to our objectives. So I popped the question to Matt, and we got married.
Feels like it.
He started with us last year, has been building, helping us build the business, and has been an incredible contribution to the organization. So Matt, thank you for you being you. Joe, where are you, bud?
Hi, Joe.
Joe, big wave, Joe. Joe's the man behind the curtain, right? So he helps make things happen, and big appreciation to all the things Joe does all the time, most of which go unnoticed. But at least every 3 months, I thank him for it here at this event. So that's good.
I got some.
And then we had some drama. So I think a lot of you know Laura retired and is staying home for a while to support the family and the kids. So my wife, Erin, stepped in and has been, actually, I had said temporarily because I wasn't sure if it was going to work. It's been working. So she's in. She's going to stay. She's going to stick. Unfortunately, my daughter had an emergency root canal last night and is now having oral surgery right now. So that is where Erin is taking care of her, but she handles all the client events and stuff like that. So that's us as a team, and we're excited to have all of you here with us today. And before we kick off the session, we've got a sponsor presentation that, Matt, you can do a quick intro?
Yeah, I can do it without.
Okay.
And I'll reiterate the fact that there are a lot of new faces in the room. And so for those of you who are Growth Club veterans now, has anybody been to more than 5? If we're up to 9? Yeah. If you see somebody you don't recognize, please reach out, say hello, make them feel comfortable, let them realize this is a community that we're trying to create. So we appreciate all of that interaction, and you never know, you may get some referral partners out of it. But for our breakfast sponsor this morning, I'm thrilled to announce Dan Dosky with LGW MediaWorks. Dan's coming on up, and he's got a little presentation. Christy, are you coming too? Okay. Dan is a network partner of mine and actually just shot some nice video of myself. Well, I guess I wouldn't call it nice, but it was of myself, and has a business that caters to a lot of different business types. So Dan, tell us a little bit about it.
Sure. I'm Dan Dosky. I work for LGW MediaWorks, and we're a commercial video production company. There's a lot of lawyers in the room, some people that we've done work for as legal graphic works. So LGW MediaWorks comes from legal graphic works. That's a litigation support company. We do legal video, depositions, we go to trials with attorneys, help them with their presentations. But today we are here to talk about LGW MediaWorks. And our slogan is, let us tell your story, right? You guys are all really good getting up, talking, sharing who you are publicly on your website, so wherever your YouTube channel, people know who you are. They know what you sound like, what your business is about. And that's what we help people do. Here's a short sample. Thank you guys so much for having us here today. I'm Dan Dosky from LGW MediaWorks. Please let us tell your story. Definitely want to get a card from you, so we can refer some business. And thank you guys again.
Second, ask what they could do differently. It's much easier and much more gratifying to your basest desires to blame someone else for your misery.
You know what's so funny? We want people to make guarantees to us, but we're not willing to make guarantees to ourselves. That's the problem with some of you. You always want to blame other people. You owe you an explanation. You need to look at yourself in the mirror and say, why are you only giving 50%? What's wrong with you? You need to put yourself on watch. You need to tell you, no more TV, no more snacks, no more desserts. No, we working out now. You need to tell you that you owe you something. As an Every day I demand more for myself than anybody else could humanly expect. I'm not competing with somebody else, I'm competing with what I'm capable of. My number one competition is me. It's always you versus you. You gotta be the one to get up every morning, be disciplined, put in the consistent daily hard work, because that means success. No coach, no trainer, no mentor, no boss can do it. You versus you. I value myself enough to give 120% on the rules. There is no excuse for not living up to your full potential. No excuse. You walk out of this room, you own yourself. I didn't hear you making excuses. But change, I changed. And I stopped being a victim. I stopped saying I gotta wait for good things to happen to me. And I said I'm gonna thrive. I'm going to fight. I'm going to work. I'm going to press forward. I'm going to learn. I'm going to do everything in my power every single day to become a victor, not a victim. Why? Because I owe it to myself. Ain't nobody stopping for me.
Oh,
So, why'd I play that now? Any?
that's later.
Right. It's a great transition as we start into today. I'm not the guy that's going to run up here and scream and yell and jump up and down. But that message inside that video, while it is mildly framed towards your fitness routine, it's framed towards the work you put into anything. We're here today to put the work into the business. One of the things I get so excited about as it relates to the December event is, the idea that you have this whole year ahead of you, but not like the New Year's resolution thing, because that's garbage, right? I mean, everybody makes them. We all know the stats on how many people stick with them. This is about saying, all right, today I'm going to create a plan. I'm going to build a reasonable plan. This is not if anybody knows that BHAG term, big, hairy, audacious goal moment. This is, I'm going to create a plan that I'm going to execute each day, each week, each quarter. And I'm going to stay really focused on point of power. So that whole video really spoke a lot about this. And, I love when I walk into people's offices or I see in their wall that they're in or utilizing this point of power. And so let me just teach this real quick one more time. So there's really two ways to look at things. And I'm going to pick on Joe this morning because he handed it to me on a silver platter. But there's two ways to look at things. There's in the blame, excuses, denial arena, right? Which is below the point, as we call it. You come up with reasons why you did or did not achieve a thing, and you are the victim. There's the other way of going about life and business, which is above the point, where you take ownership, accountability, and responsibility for everything. Things that go good and things that go wrong, right? And when you look at every single thing through this lens, and you stay on the ownership accountability spot, and most of you who have seen me on Zoom see that I have an oar behind my desk, not a bed behind my desk, because that would be weird anyway, right? These are the people that get results. So our arrival time this morning was 7:45. Joe wasn't here. I said, Joe, where are you? And he said, traffic is holding me up. What do you think I replied? That's below the point, Joe. And Joe said, good point. Right? Because we can control that. We know we might hit traffic, so what do? Leave early. What do you do next time, Joe? He loves when he's publicly recognized. It's his favorite thing. But what I'm also trying to point out is we have that culture amongst our team. So if I'm below the point, he's going to tell me. That's below the point, Arif. Your view on that. And that's a thing that we look for inside companies and on teams. Because if you all always hold each other accountable to operating above the point, you're going to run a better business. You're going to get more done. One last point on this. Every time a client leaves and they have not successfully sold their business, even when they say things to me like my high school girlfriend would, which is, Arif, it's me, not you. Right? It's me, right? I still look at it and say, why did they leave before they sold? Why did they leave before they scaled it to be a business that worked without them? What could we have done better with that client? Whether it was day 1, day 50, or wherever it was. Most people look at that and go, they were a bad client. They never did their work, right? Which is the easy out on it. But if our job is to help people get somewhere, we can't stay below the point on that. So I always say at the start of this event, if you take one thing out of today, which I hope you take more, but if you take one, live this. Live it in your life, live it in your business, live it in your relationships, and it will make an incredible impact on the way you make decisions. All right? So from there, we're now going to jump into the planners. I still haven't figured out where I know you from. Have you figured it out? Debbie and I know each other from somewhere, but we can't figure out where or how. This is a new addition. All right, I think most of you that have been around for a while. So we have made a change to how we're going to go about planning today, and we're going to take you through that now. But the entire idea of this, so everybody understands, is to build a plan and then have a tool that we use throughout the quarter and throughout the year that holds our coaching, and for those of you that are not coaching clients, your self-accountability, to consistently working on that plan. So as we go through today, our objective is going to be for you to build yourself a plan that you can execute upon week after week after week. So we're not looking for big, broad, hard to reach or impossible to reach goals. This is the stuff that when you stand here next year, this is the stuff that's going to have moved your business forward. And we'll get some more explanation as we go through. So first off, we're going to jump into the 5 ways. And before we jump into the 5 ways, we got to teach the 5 ways, because there's people in the room that have never seen it before, and there's people in the room that have seen it 10 times and still don't follow it. So page 3 in your book, because it's a little hard to read up here, but I want to just sort of teach the 5 ways real quick. And make it bigger. What's that? I'll make it bigger. Thank you. Start with leads. So there's 5 components that we pay attention to scale and grow a business that are critically important. And I can tell you, we live and die by this, and it has worked for us year over year over year over year. And the first one is measuring the number of leads you get. Really important. So having a good understanding of the number of leads you get and all of the strategies that you have in play. So if you're not currently consistently and consciously executing lead generation strategies, then my suggestion to you is start listing out your first 10, because most of them are going to fail. Your mission is to get here. Your mission is to get yourself down to 3 or 5, 3 to 5 really successful lead generation strategies. So we've got a mixed bag in the room here. We have people who have no lead generation strategies and people that are well-oiled machines. So whatever you are, the idea here is to take a hard look at what your lead generation strategies are and then make a clear decision of what you're going to do as you go through this upcoming year. Okay? Next up is the conversion percent. So here we're talking about how many of those leads you actually convert. So in our math equation here, you'll see we have 25 leads listed with a 30% conversion rate. So that gives us 7.5 customers, right? So that's a baseline. So you need to know, obviously, when you get a lead, how many of those you convert, okay? Now for each of you, because there's different businesses in here, you got to look at this and think about it differently. Some of you may be direct to consumer. Some of you may be full service-based. Others may get most of your business from referral sources. Either one of those things falls into the lead category. So look at your business through the way you drive business, and those become your lead categories. Matt's going to take you through transactions and average sale.
Did you cover time frame? So what we're counting leads from?
Yes, I did not. Go ahead.
All right. So as he was so eloquently saying, the thing we did a little bit differently this time, and as we continue to tweak Growth Club, especially for those that have been here for 3, 4, 5, 6 of them, the first couple of times, there's so much paper you couldn't possibly imagine. And so we're continuing to refine and make it a little bit better. And so here we actually put in examples, right? So many times we get questions on the 5 ways, even though it's something we talk about all the time. And it's a very basic thing to remember about your business. We thought it'd be a little bit easier to put in some templates, right? And some milestone numbers. And that's what's up here. And so to give you a guide to work through it. And so as you see the leads of 25, what we typically try to do is pick a time frame, typically a month, maybe a quarter. Because as we work through, we've got another sheet where we're working on how to develop a revenue plan based on quarters. So choose month, choose quarter, whatever you'd like, and try to figure out, because many of you should be tracking it already, what your lead sources are, right? And how many of those leads are producing. How many of those sources are producing in terms of leads. And as we get down to the math, obviously leads times conversion rate gives you the amount of customers, right? And am I on, by the way? Am I good? Okay. So in this scenario, right, 25 leads, converting 30% of them turns into 7.5 customers. And the reason that's important is because once we have them as customers, our journey starts anew, right? We start a new journey. What's it like doing business with you, whether it's a service or a product-based company? And what do we do and how do we find the most inexpensive revenue? The most inexpensive revenue that you can find is from your current customers, right? You've already paid for them. They know, like, and trust you. You've got them in the house. Let's figure out a way for them to spend more money with you. And that's what we call number of transactions, right? So some of you probably have a business where you think, well, they do business with me once and go away. Okay, that's legitimate. But there's always opportunity for maybe a new product, right? Maybe veering your business in a different direction. Maybe this isn't the year to do that, but it's always something to think about down the road. And the best way to increase your number of transactions is to think in that way, but also make sure you and your team are asking your customers the right questions every time you're communicating with them. It's not an upsell, right? It's just asking the right questions. Is there something else they need? We all know what it's like to deal with vendors. We want people we know that make things easy on us, that we can trust. And if you find those kind of people and they keep asking you the right questions, you'll do more business with them, right? Because you trust them and it's easy. So reverse that and be that person for them. And that's what the number of transaction comes to. Once you've got them and they're transacting with you, we should all have an average sale. And if you think about your business, and if you don't have this number in your head or don't have that easily accessible, just think total amount of revenue during the time frame that you've chosen divided by the number of clients or customers, right? And that's going to give you your average sale. There are ways to continue to increase that. And through each of these 5 ways, you'll see in the following pages, we have strategies 50, 60 to 70 within each area of the 5 ways that you can go through. Some will be relevant, many will not. But that's the idea. We go through and pick what works best for our business to potentially increase our average transaction within the business. Easiest way is what? Increase prices. Now, that doesn't work for everybody right away, but it should always be something you're thinking about. Where's the market? How sensitive is my buyer? Do I have room? Many, many business owners don't spend enough time thinking about how to just bump those prices a little bit. Because remember, like we said with number of transactions, you've already got them. If you're giving them a good product, the last thing they want to do is jump to another vendor. There may be an opportunity for you to use inflation as an excuse, right? Everyone's throwing that around. It's not an excuse. That's right. It's above the point. And so thinking about the average sale to increase each time they're doing business with you, which then, as the math rolls out, gives you your revenue in either that month or that quarter.
Yep. Then as we get through there, so now you've made it through 4 of the 5 ways, you come into margin, right? So this is your expense, initiatives, ability to reduce, buy in bulk. There's all sorts of things. So if as you're going through your book, as Matt says, as I throw some of these stuff everywhere, you're going to see all these pages in here, right? That are your ideas, your suggested ideas. So as we go through here, that's really what you're looking for from a margin standpoint. So This was something that you were supposed to bring through with your pre-work, right? The 5 categories that you're focused on. What we're looking at today is the idea of going to this right side, and now, Matt, if you could lower that a little. No, up, sorry. Thinking about what you're looking to increase from a strategy standpoint. So over the next 15 to 20 minutes or so, the idea here is that you're going to go through here and you're going to, 1, identify the strategies that you have that you want to stick with, 2, layer in more strategies, and 3, figure out what you can increase with the end of it, identifying your full 5 ways. Leona.
It's for the month or the year?
So this, do it as a monthly basis. You're not going to do 12 months, but because it's harder to look at it as a year. So if you look at it as a month, then you can multiply it by 12 to understand your year's number. Other questions?
Did you mention that the book is digital?
So in your email in the next few minutes, the book will also be there in a digital version as well, fillable version if you want to work on it off your laptop. I don't think I gave my typical opening remark here, so I'll throw it in now. If you open your laptop and you start doing email or other work and don't really engage in the day, it was really worthless for you to come, right? So the whole idea here is to stay in the room and really work the plan. But for those that want to do it digital and not on print, which we have a mixed bag here, you're going to have it in your email in a couple of minutes. And for the next 20 minutes or so, we're going to work our 5 ways with the idea of completing it. And I want to reiterate one more time. This is a really, really simple and easy, successful financial model for you. When you execute your 5 ways well, your business consistently grows. Consistently grows by having the good measurement of the things that you're looking at. Any other questions, just raise your hand as you're working through it, but we'll go ahead and get started. All right, so we're about halfway through 5 ways. I hear a lot of talking. Hopefully it's 5 ways talking. And people kind of working their plan. But,
You're an overachiever.
at this point, you should be about halfway through your 5 ways
Mike?
plan.
Okay.
Building, lead gen, conversion ideas, getting ready for the next step.
Conversion rate, number of transactions, average sale, and profit. So we've got that base, and although you're probably not complete, there's time to think through it as you get through the rest of the month leading into the first quarter of 2024. The idea is that it's your basis, you understand it, and you continue to work that plan. And so as you work your way through the book, you'll also come up on this page, and this is as we're starting to think about how we're going to adjust, tweak, and make impacts to our business in 24, right? So the whole idea here is we're planning ahead. Some of you have businesses that are running perfectly, right? You don't need to change a thing, and that's great. You're the envy of the room. Most of us have to continue to make adjustments and find areas of improvement throughout the year. And this is the day to start penciling that out and thinking about what's most important to us to improve, to change, and to adjust. And so on this page, what we've done is we've just divided the business up into a couple different areas. New revenue streams. Talk to some of you about productization, right? Offering different services that aren't completely overhauling your business, but understanding what the market is calling for and providing that to your customers. Time, team, education, and personal, right? These are just different areas of your business and a way to think of them in a more simplistic manner to help you make adjustments within each. And so what we're doing in here is we're laying the groundwork for what will be your goals for 2024. So read through this, and you can see we added some ideas and some examples of a different business where we highlighted, okay, in the new revenue stream, we're going to think about a new service, and we're going to work on strategic alliances. And then down below are the notes of how and what we're actually going to do. And then we're going to take this page and we're going to develop it into our full year goals and our first quarter goals for 24. So this page is just designed to help you narrow in and laser in into different areas of your business and where you think you can make some impact and some improvement in 24. How much time do we have here? We have 10 minutes here. So give this some thought, pencil out some things, circle some areas that may make sense, that you could change when you walk out the room, but at least give yourself a head start because you're here for a reason.
And we gave you some real detail here on screen, just as an example. So this is actually like real stuff that we're thinking about from a business standpoint. So new service, a sales and training program, focused on a strategic alliance, listed out the detail of who we want that alliance with, because we think that will be good for our business. So in each of these, we're giving you some specifics to just suggest things that you could be thinking about. But that's the idea here, specifics, but bang through this, because this ultimately then leads to that top 25, which we're then going to whittle down into your goal for the year. All right?